Hello all. So it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to our webinar session today. I'm Priyadarshini from the Zoho Books team. This webinar will be focusing on the budgeting feature which is available in Zoho Books. So before we begin the session, let me give you some insights about the platform which we are using. So this is our own in-house application, Zoho Meeting. So we have a webinars tab there, so wherein we can broadcast webinars and conduct webinars. So if you have any questions related to the product during the course of the webinar, please raise them in the Q&A tab. So our product experts are available and they will be able to answer your questions during the session. And in the end also, we would be taking up questions and answering you lively. So without any further ado, let's begin the session. So for conducting today's session, we have Monica with us. So over to you, Monica.
Hi everyone, I would like to welcome you all to today's session. I'm Monica from the Zoho Books team. In this session, we will be focusing on the topic of budgeting your business in Zoho Books at organization level and at project level. Before could we begin this session, let's quickly take a look into the agenda for this session. Today's session will focus on the concept of a budget and its importance for businesses. Following that, we will explore the different methods of budget management in Zoho Books. This session will be divided into two parts. The first part will cover organizational level budgeting, while the second part will discuss project level budgeting. Additionally, we will examine the various reports that are automatically generated based on the budgets you create. Finally, we will conclude with a quick recap and a Q&A session. Now, let's begin the session. What is budgeting? A budget is a financial plan that outlines an individual's, organizations, or government's expected revenues and expenses over a specific period of time. And as a business, you are expected to set targets to focus on how your business is going to perform, either for increasing your revenue or for decreasing your expenses. And these targets are called budgets. Let us discuss on why a budget is essential for a business. Let's consider I'm running a company called XYZ Electronics to illustrate a real-time example of a business budget. XYZ Electronics is a company that manufactures and sells consumer electronics such as smartphones and laptops. And this fiscal year, I'm planning to launch a new product. Now, as a business owner, I'm expected to set targets to focus on how my business is going to perform, either for increasing my revenue or for decreasing my expenses. As I already said, these targets are called budgets. Here are some key reasons why budgeting is important in a business. Setting up a proper budget for your business will help you plan financial decisions and allocate resources. Also, it enables monitoring and controlling of expenses and revenue. It not only helps you in planning and control, it also helps you in coordination. As you all are aware, coordination plays a crucial role in running a business smoothly. By creating a budget for your business, you can effectively coordinate with various departments and teams to work towards common objective. A budget provides a benchmark for evaluating your business. It also helps you identify and mitigate financial risks. And the next important aspect is investor relations. Having a good relationship with your investor is a crucial aspect of any business, and setting up a budget can greatly contribute to this. By showcasing sound financial management through a budget, you will be able to establish trust and confidence with your investor. The next up is project cost control. For any project based business, controlling the project cost is most essential factor. And budgeting provides the basis for project cost control. By properly measuring the project's actual cost against the approved budget, you can be able to determine if the project is progressing according to your plan or not. In summary, budgeting is a fundamental tool for financial management that enables businesses to plan, control expenses, evaluate performance, manage risks, and make informed decisions, ultimately contributing to the long term success and sustainability of the organization. Now, let us understand how budgets can be handled efficiently in Zoho Books. As we discussed, budgeting is an essential component for the long term success of your business. But it can be a time consuming process. So, we at Zoho Books set out to make budgeting simpler and easier. You can create budget and measure your business performance in three simple steps. The first step is to create a budget. The second step is to compare your budget versus actuals. The third and the final step is to find the areas of concern. In Zoho Books, there are two ways to manage budgets. One option is to handle the budgets at the organizational level, which is located within the accountant module, whereas the other option is to create the budgets at the project level. Now, let us begin with our first part of the session, that is organizational level budgeting, which is also called as account level budgeting. Let us dwell into the step by step procedure of creating budgeting at organization level in Zoho Books. To do so, navigate to the accountant module in the left side panel of your organization. Under accountant, click on budgets. To create a new budget, click on new budget button in the top right corner. The very first step is to give a unique name for the budget that you create. Once done, the next option is that you can associate a specific reporting tag to this budget. As you're aware that reporting tags in Zoho Books allows you to filter the reports based on tags, and these tags can be associated to items, contacts, and transactions. Similarly, reporting tags can be associated to budgets as well. Associating a reporting tag to a budget such that only the transactions in which this particular reporting tag is associated will be fetched while calculating your actuals. To do so, click on Create this budget for a specific reporting tag option. Here, you will be able to see the list of reporting tags that you have created in your organization. For this budget, I would like to associate the reporting tag called locations, and under that location, I'm going to choose an option called Chennai. So the next option is to choose the physical year for which you would like to create a budget. Once that is done, you can choose the budget period. It can be either monthly, quarterly, half yearly, or yearly. Well, you also have an option to associate a particular branch for this budget. If you have enabled branches in your organization, you will be able to associate a particular branch for every transactions you create. Likewise, you can also associate a particular branch to the budget that you create. As this is an account level budgeting, the next important step is to include the accounts for which you would like to set up a budget. Firstly, let's see how we can include the income and expense accounts. To include an income account, click on Add Accounts option. Here, you will be able to see the list of income accounts that you have created in your organization. You can click on Select All option to include all of the income accounts, or you can choose certain accounts which you would like to create the budget. You can also search for the desired account from the list and choose it. Once you have chosen the desired accounts, click on Update. You can also add or remove accounts in the later point of time. Like how we added the income accounts, we can also include the expense accounts. Now that we have included the income and expense accounts, similarly, we can also include the asset, liability, and equity accounts in this budget. Once you have entered all the required details to create a budget, click on Create Budget option. In the following page, you will find an option to fill in the budgets for the respective accounts starting from March 2023 to Feb 2024. Zoho Books offers you three different methods to create budgets. You can either enter them manually or pre-fill from previous year's actuals or autofill accounts. We shall dwell deeper into each of these methods to gain a better understanding. The very first method is to enter them manually. If you would like to enter the budget manually, you can enter the amounts in the fields provided next to the respective accounts. Once you have recorded the budgets for your income and expense accounts, the net profit and loss will be automatically calculated by Zoho Books. The next method is to pre-fill based on previous year's actuals. If you would like to create a budget based on one of your previous year business performance, you can just do that in Zoho Books. To do so, click on pre-fill from previous year's actuals. Here, you can choose a year for which you would like to pre-fill the data. Since we are going to create the budget for March 2023 to Feb 2024, I would like to choose the year March 2022 to Feb 2023, whose actual amount I want to pre-fill in. Once done, the next option is to choose the reporting period such that this reporting basis should be used while fetching the past data to pre-fill the budget. Before could we choose a reporting basis, let us understand the difference between accrual and cash. Accrual accounting records the revenue and expenses when transactions occur, but before could the money is received or dispensed. Whereas cash accounting records when the cash related to those transactions occur, but after the money is received or dispensed. Once you have chosen the required details, click on Pre-fill. As you can see here, for certain accounts, the values has been pre-filled from the previous year's actuals. But for certain other accounts, the values are yet to be filled. So you can make use of the other two methods to fill in the values. You can either enter them manually or autofill the accounts. Now let us see how to autofill the accounts based on various criteria. Instead of entering the amount for each period and account individually, you can enter the amount for the first period for an account and choose to autofill values for the subsequent periods, either monthly, quarterly, or yearly, based upon the budget period that you have chosen. The amounts in the subsequent periods will be autofilled based on the first period amount and the following criteria. The criteria are autofill amount by apply fixed amount for each period, autofill amount by adjustment amount, or adjust by percentage for each period. Now, let us understand about each of these criteria in detail. The very first criteria is to autofill by applying fixed amount for each period. If your business is projected to earn the same income or incur the same expense for each period in your budget, you can select this option. Here, you will have to enter a fixed amount for a period. The subsequent periods will be autofilled with the initial amount you have entered. Here, I have entered the fixed amount as 100 rupees and the subsequent periods has been pre-filled with the fixed amount as 100. And once you click on apply, as you can see, for all the subsequent periods starting from March 2023 to Feb 2024, it has been applied with the fixed amount rupees 100. Now, let us understand about the next criteria, which is autofill by adjusting the amount for each period. If your business is projected to earn income or incur expenses based on the adjustments to amounts, you can select this option. Using this option, you will be able to add the adjustment amount to either first period's amount or to each period's existing amount. First, let us see how we can adjust the amount to first period's amount. You can enter an amount for the first period and the subsequent periods will be autofilled based on the adjustment amount. Let us take a scenario. If you have set the first period's amount as 1000 and the adjustment amount for each period as 100, then 1000 will be the amount for the first period, 1100 for the second, and so on. As you can see here, the amount for the first period is 1000 rupees and the subsequent periods has been adjusted with the adjustment amount rupees 100. The next criteria is to add the adjustment amount to each period's existing amount. You can select this option if you've already entered your budget and you wish to update them with an adjustment amount. Say you want to create a budget such that you want to add 100 to the accounts of the previous year's budgets. Let us assume the previous year's budgets for the first three periods are 1100, 1200, 1300 and so on. And when you enter the adjustment amount as 100, for the newly created budget for the first three periods will be adjusted with this adjustment amount. Now, we saw how we can autofill by adjusting the amount for each period. Now let us see how we can autofill by adjusting the percentage for each period. We are going to follow the same steps of how we followed by autofilling the amount by adjustment amount. However, here we will be autofilling the amount by adjustment percentage instead of adjustment amount. You can enter an amount for the first period and the subsequent periods will be autofilled based on the percentage that you have entered. Similarly, here also you can add the amount calculated from the percentage to either the first period's amount or to the each period's existing amount. Likewise, we can fill in the values for the respective accounts using any one of these methods. I have already created a budget. By filling in the required details, let us take a look into that budget. Here, you can add or remove accounts. To do so, click on Add or Remove Accounts option, choose the account type, and you can either add additional accounts or remove the accounts that you don't want it to create budgets for. Like how we entered the values for income and expense accounts, we can follow the same steps and add values for the asset, liability, and equity accounts. Here, we have an option to autofill the opening balance as well. To do so, click on the autofill option and here you can choose a date of opening balance. Let us choose the date opening balance date as 8 December 2023 and I would like to adjust the opening balance as of December 8, 2023 with 10%. Once done, the opening balance as of December 2023 will be automatically fetched here and it will be adjusted with 10%. As you can see here, this is the balance sheet as of December 2023 and for the undeposited funds, this is the total value. And as you can see here, the total value has been fetched but it has been adjusted with 10%. The same applies for the other accounts as well. If you scroll down, here see an account called budget mismatch account, which is nothing but a equity account which has been added. This account will be added when the total assets does not equal to the total liabilities and equities in the budget. This account is added to ensure that the total assets and the total liabilities and equities matches. So once you have filled in the values for the respective accounts, you can click on the Save button. This is just a warning which states that A budget mismatch account has been created to offset the mismatch, and you can click on Save Budget button to proceed further, or you can click on Cancel and offset the mismatch manually. Once you have created the budget, Zoho Books will use the budget to generate the following reports so that you can forecast your company's finances. That is, profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. The profit and loss report is generated based on the amount that you have entered for the selected income and expense accounts when you created a budget. Your net profit and loss will be calculated for the period that you have chosen based on the net income and net expense. Knowing the profit and loss for a budget that you have created will let you make better financial decisions and make the necessary changes to increase your profits. The next report is the balance sheet. Balance sheet in the budget is used to predict your assets, liabilities, and equities for the budget period. This report can be used to know the financial position of a business based on the values entered in the budget. As discussed earlier, in this budget, if the total asset account does not equal to the total liability and equity amount, then Zoho Books will add a new equity account called Budget Mismatch Account to ensure that your accounts are equal. The cash flow statement report is a comprehensive report that will show you the total cash flow of your business based on the values entered in the budget. Using this report, you will get an idea about the cash coming in and going out of your business based on the values entered in the budget. Similar to the balance sheet, this report will also include the budget mismatch account if your total asset account is not equal to the total amount of liability and equity. Now that we have set up a budget successfully, the next step is to compare your budget versus actuals. To do so, click on Budget versus Actuals option. In this budget, since we have chosen the reporting tag as location and the branch as head office, only the transactions in which this particular reporting tag and branch is associated will be considered while calculating your actuals. At the end of each financial period, you will want to compare how your business has actually performed against the budgets you set for it. So in Zoho Books, you can compare your budgets with your actuals using a comprehensive report. This report gives a list of accounts with their budgets, actuals, and variances. So observing the trends of actuals versus budgets helps you identify the accounts that you have gone over budget so that you can take the necessary steps to keep them within the limits in the future period. As you can see here, for the sales account, you have set up a budget which is greater than that of the actuals, and hence it is a over budget of 99.99%. The ultimate goal for creating the budget is to increase your revenue and decrease the expenses, whereas here the revenue has actually decreased. So you can plan your budget accordingly in the future. Also, you can coordinate with your team members and different departments to ensure that you take necessary steps to keep them within the limits in the future period. Let us look into the expense accounts. So as you can see, for the cost of goods sold account, the budget that I have set for March 2023 is 65,200 rupees, whereas the actual is just around 100 rupees. That is 0.15% of my budget. So my cost has actually decreased. It is a over budget, but it shows that your expenses has been decreased. Similarly, you can check the budget variance for various accounts in the balance sheet and cash flow statement. Now that we have come to the end of the first part of the session, let us quickly take a recap of the account level budgeting. To create an account level budgeting, you would have to navigate to the accountant module. Under accountant, click on budgets. Under budgets, You can click on the new budget button to create a new budget. We also saw how we can include the values for respective accounts by making use of the different methods. That is, you can enter them manually or pre-fill based on the previous year's actuals or autofill the accounts. We also saw the various reports such as profit and loss, balance sheet and cash flow statement, which is automatically generated based on the values that you have set for the budget. Later, we saw how we can compare the budget versus actuals. Now let us begin with the second part of the session, which is project level budgeting. Let us assume that you are running a project based company and you would want to add budgets to your project to know how your project is performing, whether it is performing according to your plan or not. So entering a budget for a project will help you analyze the actual amount spent or earned for the project when compared with the estimated budget. Now, let us understand the step-by-step procedure for creating a project level budgeting in Zoho Books. To do so, navigate to Zoho Books, click on the time tracking module, and under time tracking, click on projects. You can either set up the budget for the newly created projects, or if you have already created a project, you can enter the budget for the same. Here, we have two types of budgets. One is cost budget and revenue budget. Cost budget is the total amount you expect to spend on a project, and revenue budget is the amount you expect to receive from the client for the project. And if you have any budgetary constraints and would like to have a report based on allocated cost or hour, and the allocated cost or hour actually spent, you can do that in Zoho Books. Here, I have entered the cost budget as 30,000 and the revenue budget as 50,000. And I would like to choose the hours budget type. There are three types of budget types. One is total project hours, the other one is hours per task, and then hours per staff. If you choose this total project hours option, you can set the number of hours that can be logged for this project. You can also view the budget hours versus the logged hours in the project summary report. So this will help you understand if the budgeted hours meet the actual hours and you can plan accordingly. The next option is to choose the hours per task. So if you select this option, you can allocate the number of hours that you want to assign for a particular task. Well, in this project, I have created a task called design, and I would like to set up a budget hours for completing this particular task. Likewise, I can also set up a budget based on hours per staff. So in this project, I have added a user and I would like to set up a budget hours for this particular user. So these are the three types of budget types that can be chosen in a particular project. So once you have set up the budget for a project, click on Save. Like how we created a account level budgeting under the accountant module, we can also create an account level budget for this particular project. By creating account level budgets, you can plan the amount that you intend to spend on each area of the project. Creating a budget at account level helps you compare the budget versus actuals for a particular account. You can choose to create an account level budget or multiple account level budgets for a project in Zoho Books. Let us take a scenario. Brandon is a client for whom you're working on a web development project, and he wants to create an account level budget for this project as he wants to know whether he will exceed the amount that is allocated for this project. In this case, you can select the project and create an account level budget. When the transactions are recorded, the amounts are tracked under respective expense and income accounts for this project. When the project comes to a close, you can run the actual versus budget report. So this report will help you know the profit and loss incurred under each account for this project. To create an account level budget for a project, click on this new budget button, and once done, it will redirect you to the budgets which is located within the accountant module. You can follow the same steps which we discussed in the first part of our session and set up a budget for various accounts that you select. Here, you will be able to see that the project has been associated to this particular budget. I have already created an account level budget for this particular project. Let's quickly take a look into it. Now that I have already created a budget, I will be able to view the budget versus actuals for this particular project. Here again, you will be able to see the budget, actuals, and the over budget for each of the accounts and the profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. Please note that under the actuals, only the transactions in which you have associated this particular project will be fetched. Well, there are also other reports will help you understand how your project is actually progressing. This is the project summary report, which will show you the list of projects that you have created in your organization, and you can compare the logged versus budgeted. So the logged hours and the logged amount has been fetched from the timesheets that you have created for the project, whereas the budgeted hours and the budgeted amount is the budget that you have entered for the specific project. Here, as you can see for the web development project, the logged hours is greater than that of the budget hours and the logged amount is lesser than that of the budgeted amount. So using this report, you can actually understand how your project is performing, whether it is performing according to your budget or not. The next up is the project cost summary. As name suggests, this report shows you the budget cost that you have set up for a particular project and the cost from the transactions. As you can see here, the budget amount that I have set for this project is 30,000, whereas the cost from the transactions is 37,000, so which is greater than that of my budget. Similarly, we can also check the project revenue summary. This report shows you the actual revenue that has been received for this project versus the budget amount that you have entered. The next report would be project performance summary. This report gives the overall performance of each and every project that you have created. As you can see here, a web development project, the budgeted cost is 30,000 and the actual cost is 57,000. So the cost has actually increased, which is greater than that of your budgeted cost. And you can also see a column called difference in cost, which is calculated by subtracting the actual cost from the budget. And you can see here your actual cost is greater than that of the budgeted cost, which means your expenses has been increased. Similarly, when you look at the budgeted revenue, that is 50,000 and the actual revenue is more than 8 lakhs. Hence, your revenue has increased. In this report, you can not only check the difference in cost and difference in revenue, you can also check the profit percentage and profit margin. In this way, you can actually come to a conclusion whether your project is profitable or not. Also, this report will help you in controlling your project cost. Now that we have come to the end of the second part of the session, let us quickly take a look into the project level budgeting. So to create a project level budgeting, you would have to navigate to the time tracking module. Under time tracking module, click on projects. You can set up a budget for the project by creating a new project, or you can also set up a budget for the existing project. There are two types of budgets that we can set up for a particular project, that is cost budget and revenue budget. We also discussed on the various budget types that are available. Later, we saw how we can enter an account level budget for a particular project. Now we have come to the end of the session. We hope this session was useful and informative. Kindly post your queries and we are here to assist you. So here we have received a question asking that whether we can make budget based on reporting tag. Yes, it can be done. So while creating a budget itself, you will have an option to associate a reporting tag. And under that reporting tag, you can choose any one of the option. And once done, only the transactions in which that particular reporting tag is associated will be considered while fetching the actuals. And we have a next question asking that can we take April to March here instead of March to Feb? Yes, it can be done, and it depends upon the physical year that you have chosen under your organization profile. To do so, you can navigate to settings. Under settings, go to profile, and there you will find an option to choose a physical year for your organization. And based upon that, you will be able to choose the same physical year while creating the budgets as well. We have the next question asking that can we do a budget based on quantity instead of amount for revenue and expense based on percentage. As we discussed, budget can be entered only for the accounts. You can enter for the accounts or for the project, but it is based on the amount. So budget is the amount that you set initially to compare with whether your actuals is performing according to your budget or not. Hence, it cannot be based on quantity, but it is based on the amount that you have set up. We have received another question stating that, as mentioned by you, the time, work hours, staff rate can be managed, but how to record material expenses record according to the project? You will be recording the material expenses as bills in Zoho Books. So while recording bills, you will have an option to associate a customer and you can choose a particular project under that customer. How can we link cost center with budgeting? In Zoho Books, cost centers are treated as reporting tags. So while creating the budget, you will have an option to choose the reporting tag, and this reporting tags can be created in Zoho Books under the settings. So once you have done while creating the project, you will be able to associate the particular reporting tag, and only the transactions in which that particular reporting tag is associated will be fetched while calculating your actuals. You will be able to pre-fill the budget that you have created. So firstly, you would have to create a budget, and instead of entering the values for the respective accounts manually, you will be able to pre-fill the budgets and you can import it as an Excel file. Now let us see how we can import the budgets instead of entering them manually. To do so, go to the budgets, and either while creating the budgets or for the existing budget that you have already had it, if you click on the hamburger menu in the top right side of the page, you will be able to see an option called pre-fill budgets. If you click on that option, it will redirect you to a page wherein you will be able to import the Excel file that you have already created. You can also download the sample files which has been provided to compare with your import file and to ensure that you have a perfect file for the import. Yeah, we have next question asking if budgeting is possible without associating or linking reporting tags. Yes, you can create budgets without associating reporting tags as it is not a mandatory option. Yes, you will be able to export the budget report. Here, the budget report is nothing but the budget versus actual report. To do so, navigate to reports. Under reports, you'll be able to see a section called budgets, and under budgets, you would have to click on budget versus actuals, and from there you can choose any particular budget which you would like to export and click on export as option. Thank you for joining us today. You can also reach out to our toll-free number, or you can also drop a mail to our support email ID. And we would also like to let you know that we provide support in various languages like English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, and Malayalam. Please feel free to reach out to us in case of any further queries. Thank you.